And we continue at 1:05 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wang has the day off. He'll be back with us on Monday. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. It is my pleasure to welcome our next guest to the program. He is the RNC National Committeeman representing the state of California, Shawn Steel. Shawn, welcome.
Hey, it's a great day in America. Great day that 100,000 more people have joined the Republican Party. It was 5.7 million last year. Now it's 5.8 million. So we got 800,000, over 5 million. That's something we haven't seen in 20 years. The party is growing. Oh, but the Democrats, in the last year, they got 1,000. So something's going on in California. I'm not sure what it is, but I think it's pretty tired of the Newsom and pretty happy with Trump.
Let's talk about Prop 50 because people are voting on Prop 50 right now. I put mine in the mail earlier this week and just got a text message from the California Secretary of State's office saying that my vote was received and counted. I got that earlier this morning. And there was a series of interviews that took place from that reporter from CBS Sacramento who had that famous interview with Katie Porter, where Katie Porter snapped and threatened to walk out on the interview. But it wasn't just a one-on-one that she did with Katie Porter. She interviewed all of the candidates running for governor. And one of the questions that she brought up to all of them was about Prop 50. And over the course of asking that question, she would tell a story pretty regularly about explaining it to her daughter. And the daughter said, well, this seems pretty simple to me. Two wrongs don't make a right. And she would present that argument that came from her daughter to these candidates, and none of them had a coherent response to it. Because when you listen to their argument, what they're saying is, in order to save democracy, you have to fix elections. And I don't think that passes the smell test to a child, let alone an adult.
Yeah, let's have more children like that voting. It's clearly ripping up the California Constitution that voters voted for an independent commission. That started a movement in America. Now 6 states have independent commissions, red states and blue states. And it goes back to Governor Elbridge Gerry from Massachusetts. And this is back in the 17th, 18th century, where he had a chance to drop congressional lines in Massachusetts and made one look like a salamander, and that's where you get gerrymander. What we have is that politicians, since the beginning of a republic, have been designing their own districts so they could pick their voters. And that's something we need to get away from, because politicians, both parties, they just, you give them a tool for power, they got to use it. And we finally had enough in California. This is such a regression by Newsom, and it's pathetic, and it's short-sighted, and it's designed to take care of his buddies, make himself look good running for president, but it's a corrupt bargain, and that's why all my friends are voting against Proposition 50. It's a terrible proposition. They're hoping that Californians are asleep at the wheel, not paying attention.
Equity is a word that's thrown around in Sacramento a lot. Gavin Newsom likes to use it. Members of the legislature, the Democratic majority, like to use it. And the definition that they seem to use for equity is we need to wreck the entire state. Because if some areas in California are functioning and people are happy, and there are other parts of California that aren't functioning and people aren't happy, instead of fixing the broken parts, what we have to do is break the working parts. We see that with housing policy, where cities like Huntington Beach do not want to put a bunch of low-income housing in their city because they know what will happen if they do that. And Gavin Newsom, of course, comes down on them like a ton of bricks, because why not turn them into Venice? People are unhappy in Venice right now. Okay, people are happy in Huntington Beach. Let's wreck Huntington Beach, and that is equity. We saw a lot of this during the COVID-19 lockdowns, when you had certain counties that did not want to be locked down. Other counties did, and they're paying a price for it. And of course, Newsom came in like the warden of the state and tried to shut down the counties that wanted to remain open. Right now, you have some areas in California who are happy with their representation in Washington. And because you have pockets of the state that are happy with their representation. Newsom's impulse is to say, well, we need to go in and wreck that because that's his worldview. That to him is equity.
Well, he's also running for president, and his numbers are very low. UC Berkeley did a poll, and his standing in the springtime was at 41%, sinking like a stone because you got fires that are unabated, not without preparation. You got urban crime that's growing, people just stealing anything they want. Used to be they had the thieves had a sense of honor. They would steal up to $950, and it just went wholesale. They threw out the calculators, took whatever they wanted because they realized that there wouldn't be any punishment for it. So we've seen it's impossible to build a home in California unless you're a millionaire because the minimum cost of a new home is $1 million. The kids can't buy the house that they were born in, so they're leaving for Texas and Florida for better states. It's just on. And businesses of every sort, major businesses are leaving, taking great jobs with them, and populating red states. So, there's a point of no return. And so Newsom, in order to run for president, has a problem. He's out as governor with term limits in 2026 with the presidential elections in 2028. How does he keep himself fresh and current? Well, he creates a political storm. He's the anti-Trump. He's the guy that's going to take down Trump, even though he can't run against him. But he wants to popularize himself, and it's working to some degree, and creating this fiction, this Proposition 50 that was done in 4 days in the state legislature, no public hearings, no transparency, and they redrew the lines in California to favor Democrats over Republicans. And here's the oddity. Right now, Californians last year voted 38% for Republican congressmen. They wound up with 17% of the seats today. After tomorrow, if they get the thing passed, it'll be 7%. So basically, a one-party dictatorship. The Democrats have a lust. They can't control their greed. But there's a lot we can do about it, and my friends are voting. And the greatest challenge we have is getting the mega voter, the conservative voter, the alienated Republican. Come on, guys, the darn ballot is sitting on your desk right now. It's right there in the kitchen. Open it up, sign it. It's only one question. Do you support proposition or are you against it? Fill in that little square, put it in a mail, and it'll be counted. In fact, we have lawyers in the 17 biggest counties in California monitoring election compliance. We have the full penetration in these offices. We got people working inside and volunteering in these county registrar's offices. So this is going to be an election that has a lot of oversight. Any funny business will be dealt with harshly because we got a good court system and a Supreme Court that understands that. So there's no excuse. Get out there and vote today. Vote against this monstrosity, and then Newsom's campaign for president will be over. So it's a double. It's really good for us.
Californians are not used to voting in odd years. This is an odd year. It's an election that was not on the calendar earlier in the year. It's a special election. And so far, based on the numbers I have seen, turnout is very, very low. To the extent that anyone is turning out at all, Democrats seem to be returning their ballots at a higher rate than Republicans. Why do you think that is, and do you think that's going to change?
I think it'll change because we're seeing Republicans finally seeing, oh, my God, we have sent the CAGOP, that is our website, cagop.org. We have been receiving substantial support from our friends in the Republican National Committee to get the message out. Millions of pieces of mail are hitting your homes now. Texting is going to you. Phone calls are going to you from the party. And that's to remind you, whether we like it or not, there's an election on November 4th, and the ballot is already in your home. 18 million ballots were sent out. The Democrats, the hard left, the Antifa, the people that hate America, hate Jews, and hate Israel, they've already voted, and they're voting in very large numbers. But we don't think that's the majority of Californians. We're after moderate voters, conservative Democrats. There's a few left. There's a lot of Democrats that don't like this proposition because they know it destroys the independent commission and returns power to the politicians. So the missing link is getting the conservative voter to get out of bed, to get off their sofa, walk about 20 feet, get their ballot, fill it out, and then drop it in the mailbox. And trying to find the same day voters, I have a lot of respect for that. They're hard to find. Those voting stations in a special election are really hard to find. Mail the darn thing because the post office keeps track of it, just like you said. And then you get notice that it was received by the county register of voters, and that's done, and you've got proof.
Historically, the reliable voters voted Republican. People who voted absentee voted Republican, and the casual voters, younger voters in particular, blue-collar voters, they voted Democrat to the extent that they voted at all. When Donald Trump came on the political scene, he changed that dynamic, where many of the people who used to vote Republican now vote Democrat, and a lot of these people who are not regular voters like Donald Trump's message. They responded well to Donald Trump's message. They turned out in the last election, and that could be what provided the margin of victory for him. These voters who had not historically voted or just voted casually. Now, the problem for the Republican Party, to my eye, and maybe you agree, maybe you disagree, is to try to figure out how to take these people who used to not participate in the system but did for Donald Trump and get them to participate in the system regularly for things like Proposition 50. I don't know how you get these people to turn out and vote without Donald Trump on the ballot, and I see that as a problem for Prop 50 and a problem in the midterms.
It's a real challenge, and this is all about attacking, destroying, belittling Donald Trump. And the power play is to try to control the House of Representatives. And that's what Newsom is offering the Democrat, the progressives. They want folks like Nancy Pelosi to run the House of Representatives. And what happens when they do? Because the Republicans have a 2-vote majority out of 435 Congress members, 2-vote margin. And we've been winning everything, but it's the hardest job in the world. The president has put in a ton of time working with certain Republicans that, have little problems, but we're winning all the big bills. And we're winning, supporting anti-terrorism. We're supporting getting rid of DEI in our lives. We're supporting areas of the world that makes America stronger, more dependable. What we're really thinking about is if the House is lost, and because if you're ahead by two seats, then you're going to have President Trump impeached every 3 weeks, be investigated. There'll be hearings. Any legislation that is proposed will be out the window. It'll be a lousy 2 years for the president. So that's what this is about. This is about whether or not Trump is going to be an effective president, and it comes back to California, comes back to this proposition, and it comes back to our Trump supporters that are listening to you right now and making a decision to vote. And if there's any questions, what's going on, what's important, more information, cagop.org. All the information, all the data points, all the arguments are there. This is something that is so important because it really has to do with who's going to control the House of Representatives. If you lose 5 California conservatives and then you replace it with 5 California progressives, that isn't good. And it makes living in California even more intolerable.
Could you envision a scenario where Gavin Newsom cost the Democrats control of the House? And I say that because if you go back into time and you look at where the mid-decade redistricting started, it did not start in Texas. It started in New York. New York redrew their lines, and the Democrats picked up 3 seats after those lines were redrawn. Then Texas said, okay, New York, you redraw your lines. We're going to redraw our lines, and we're going to pick up 5 seats. And Newsom was the one that then escalated it and started knocking more dominoes down because he said, all right, well, we're going to do it in California. His problem in California was the independent commission was part of the Constitution, so he couldn't do it on his own. He had to go to the people for a vote. So there was a time delay between when he responded to Texas and when California was going to redraw their lines officially. Had Newsom not done that, I don't think you would see Florida, Ohio, Indiana, Missouri, Utah, other states falling in line. What sparked those states to redraw their lines was Newsom and Proposition 50. If Newsom hadn't jumped in with Proposition 50 and it stopped at Texas, then it would have been a 2-vote swing towards the Republicans, and it would have ended there. But because Newsom upped the ante to try to boost his presidential prospects, he got all of these other states who had been on the sidelines to jump in and redraw their lines. And now the Democrats might lose over 20 seats because of all the redrawing of lines. Do you see a scenario where they blame him?
Yeah. Clearly, he started a firestorm that was unnecessary. New York and Illinois. Look, Massachusetts, 38% of the folks in Massachusetts and 7 congressional seats voted Republican. They have 0 Republicans. The Democrats are experts at gerrymandering. That's why people don't trust politicians. Connecticut has 5 seats. 35% of the people voted Republican for Congress. 0 Republican seats. So the Democrats have been doing this for years. And here's the funny thing. Governor Pritzker, the man that never missed a meal, who won $1.5 million in gambling in Las Vegas, he's the one in Illinois, the governor, and he said, I'm gonna get rid of more Republicans. And by the time the experts looked at it, they got rid of all the Republicans they could in Illinois. There wasn't any more to squeeze. So the Democrats have done a great job squeezing out Republicans in the states they control. Newsom's trying to do the same thing. I think he fails because I think folks listening to you are going to say, I got to vote on this. And here's the extra ask. Call 3 relatives you know that are lazy, that are Republican, that don't vote very often. Make it your mission to go to their home, even if it's a couple of 100 miles, and help them open that envelope, vote, and help them sign it and tell them to put it in a mailbox. That's what we need to do is grassroots, peer-to-peer, none of this TV commercials, no fancy pieces of mail. Let's just do it ourselves and not blame somebody else. That's our job.
It was really the fastest ballot I ever filled out. It took less than 2 minutes to open it up, fill it out, sign it, put it in the mailbox.
It's absolutely the truth because that's what I did. And I got to confess, I was out of town, and we just came back, and we found that ballot right in our mailbox, and we filled it out this morning. We already mailed it. It's out the door, and it's no longer theoretical.
All right. Shawn Steel, RNC committeeman representing the state of California. Thanks so much for stopping by. Have a great weekend. You too. We have a great shot in winning this and destroying Newsom. All right. Thanks for the call. All right. Here's my question to you at 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. Have you already voted on Proposition 50? If so, how did you vote? I want to hear from you. According to the Secretary of State's office, not many of you have voted. Voting in this election has fallen off a cliff. Have you voted? And if so, how'd you go? 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. Your call's coming up right here on The John Phillips Show. It's The John Phillips Show on this Jimmy Buffett Friday. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And if you want to listen to us all weekend long, that's easy to do. All you have to do is subscribe on your handy-dandy smartphone, and all of the podcasts will be downloaded automatically to your phone so you can listen to us if you're in the middle of the desert, if you're in the middle of the ocean, whenever, wherever you are. We're taking your calls right now at 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. I voted no on Prop 50. I put it in the mail earlier this week. I got a text message from the Secretary of State's office this morning saying my vote was received and counted. Have you voted on Prop 50? And if so, how'd you vote? 800-222-5222. Your call's up next right here on The John Phillips Show. It's The John Phillips Show on this Jimmy Buffett Friday. 800-222-5222 is telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. I voted no on Prop 50 and received notice from the Secretary of State's office that they received and counted my ballot. I want to know if you voted yet, and if so, how'd you vote? Because according to all of the numbers I've seen, turnout in this election is very, very low. Let's go to Tony in Daly City. Tony, hello.
Hey, John, thanks for taking my call. I'm actually calling from Broadmoor Village. It's an incorporated area inside Daly City and Colma in San Mateo County. And it's a lot of old seniors that live out here. And I grew up here, so I know most of them. And I went around to their house, knocked on the door, and said, look, we don't vote no on Prop 50. We're going to lose our Prop 13. And that, they go, oh, my God, I didn't know that. And I go, well, that's what's going to lead to. And so I've got at least 20. I got 26 so far and counting those. That I just by hustling my neighborhood with the old seniors and getting no on 50.
It's going to be one of these elections where, because only a handful of people vote, if you're one of the ones that votes, you're going to have an oversized influence on the results of the election. So you might as well go out and do it.
Oh, I do. And it's great. In my little Broadmoor Village, there's only like 3,000 residents. And most of us, and I'm a senior now, but I'm talking about, these are 80-year-old people still living. And they just don't listen, or I don't know what they watch on TV, but I got them all going. And they've known me since I was a kid, so they trust what I say to them. And they vote on it. They give me, when my ballot comes in, we'll vote. And I said, if you want, I'll come pick your ballot up if you want. And they said, no, we'll put it in the mail. We'll put it in the mailbox when the mailman comes by. And I take them for their word. They'll do it.
All right. Thank you for the call, sir. I appreciate it. Let's go to Bonnie in Costa Mesa. Bonnie, hello.
Yes, thank you for doing this. People in California need to get engaged. They need to get educated, and they need to vote. I voted no on Prop 50. This proposition is not really about that. Look at the ads that they're putting out. Stick it to Trump. This is about Trump. Trump has nothing to do with an election in the state of California that is about California. This is about Newsom wanting to get everybody looking at him when he's going to be running for president. And I'll tell you, it's been, at least a couple of years now that I've already made my decision. If he decides to run, I am going to use my hard-earned money, which I don't have a whole lot of, to take ads out wherever I can and post about all the things that he's done bad for California, where California is going down, down, down the drain. Do you want this to happen to our whole country? Well, then that's what Newsom's going to do to it. This is not about that. This is not about, just the state of California, which is some of his ads are telling us, and they need to stop it. And I really applaud that fellow that was on last that goes out and gets his neighborhood working to get their ballots in. I have worked over 20 elections in this state, and over the years, and I have watched our election process go down, 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 and if we get something bad out of this, we have nobody but ourselves to blame.
Well, I can tell you why they're turning this into an election about Donald Trump. And I saw that Tom Steyer, the billionaire, has ads out talking about impeachment. And he's insinuating that if you vote yes on this, you're voting to impeach Donald Trump. The reason that they're doing this is because in a low turnout election, the theory is it's a base election. Meaning the Democrats need to get their base out. The Republicans need to get their base out. You're not persuading people one way or the other. You're just getting the true believers to turn out. And right now with the Democratic voters, if you're trying to whip them up into hysteria so they'll fill out their ballots and turn them in, you have to make it about hating Donald Trump. That's what they're doing. They're not trying to persuade anyone one way or another. You notice they're not out there making the argument, debating people who believe the opposite. They're not trying to persuade the undecideds. They're just trying to get their crowd to fill out their ballots, or enough of their crowd to fill out their ballots to overwhelm the other side. And the other side is just as apathetic as their side right now. So the theory is there's more of us than there are of them. So if we can just get more of our people to turn out and fill out that ballot and turn it in, then we win the election. And right now, based on the numbers I've seen, that's the likely outcome. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. Let's go to Ray in El Segundo. Ray, hello.
Hi. Yes, I voted no on that. I also did the Save Prop 13 ballot and the ballot for proof of, verification of voter ID. So I did those three, and it just amazes me with this Prop 50. They say gerrymandering. I go, this is a Proposition 2 gerrymander. It's funny. They're saying it's to block gerrymandering, and that's exactly what this thing is doing. It's absolutely disgusting. Everything Newsom does is disgusting.
All right. Thank you for the call, sir. Let's go to Irene in Lafayette. Irene, hello.
Hi, John. Thanks for taking my call. As a native Californian, I voted no. I don't want Newsom to have any more power than he already has. I wish he would fight like heck for the American people and the Californians, like he does for the illegals, and like he's fighting for Trump. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for the call. Let's go to Edmund in Petaluma. Edmund, hello. Edmund, are you there, sir? Going once, going twice. No, Edmund. Let's go to Steve in Diamond Bar. Steve, welcome.
Hi, John. Just want to let you know we both voted no. I had to vote for my wife, though, because she hates Gavin so much she couldn't stomach it.
So angry she couldn't fill in the bubble.
That's exactly right. One bubble. I love the idea that previous caller had about going into senior facilities and talking to them and making them aware of what's going on.
All right. Thank you for the call, sir. Let's go to Adolfo in Sylmar. Adolfo, hello.
Hello, John. How you doing? I would vote no for the prop, but I haven't received my ballot yet. I'm still waiting to get the ballot. There's two other people that live here in this house, and they've already received their ballots about a week ago. I'm Republican, and they're not. So I don't know if something weird is happening with these ballots that some people are not getting them yet, because I also have been noticing online that some people are indicating that they're not getting their ballots too. So I don't know what the deal is with that.
And you live in Los Angeles County?
Yeah, I'm in Sylmar.
I would contact the county registrar of voters and tell them that you didn't get it. Because if other people in your house...
Yeah, I did that. I did that about over a week ago, and I'm still waiting to get it. They said they were going to resend it again, but I still haven't received anything yet.
Okay. Well, if you don't get it by Election Day, then you're going to have to vote in person.
Oh, yeah, I mean, because this has never happened to me. I've been voting here in California for decades, and this is the first time this has ever happened to me.
It only happened to me once. It happened to me during the recall election of Gray Davis a million years ago. And yeah, I moved from one place to another, and I just didn't get a ballot. So I went and I voted in person, and it was fine, and they counted the ballot. But that's the one time it didn't happen. Now, I have lived places where the people who lived there before me, their ballot still came to me. And in the case of my last house, that guy had been out of there for over 7 years, and they continued to send me his ballot in the mail, and I just throw it in the trash.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't relocated here. I've been living here for almost 15 years, so I haven't changed addresses at all. So, I mean, it's just strange that this time I'm not getting the ballot. I haven't gotten the ballot yet. I should have received it already over a week ago.
Oh, yeah. All right, well, stay on that, and thank you for the call, sir. I appreciate it. Let's go to Sharon in West Hills. Sharon, hello. Sharon, are you there? Going once, going twice. No, Sharon. Oh, Sharon, hello.
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. So I'm calling from San Leandro, not West Hills, but it doesn't really matter. I voted no, and I also retrieved my 96-year-old stepmother's ballot and mailed that in as a no as well.
All right. Thank you for the call. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. Have you voted on Prop 50? If so, how'd you vote? I voted earlier this week. I received notice from the Secretary of State via text message and email this morning that they received and counted my ballot. Have you voted yet? And if so, how'd you vote? 800-222-5222. 1-800-222-5222. Your calls coming up right here on The John Phillips Show. It's The John Phillips Show on this Jimmy Buffett Friday. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. Coming up after the news at 2, we're going to speak with Scott Baugh, who is the man that ran against Katie Porter for Congress in Orange County before she ran for the United States Senate and before she decided to run for governor, which she's doing right now. So make sure you stick around for that. Let's go back to the phones and welcome Karen in the East Bay. Karen, hello.
Hello. Thank you for taking my call. I'm a first-time caller to your show, but I love your show. There's a few things I want to say. Number one, I don't know why people do mail-in voting. It's the least secure type of voting that there is. Just go to the polling place. You've got 12 hours to do it, and make sure your vote counts that way. Second of all, Scott Wiener, the head of the state legislature, is the one who writes all these bills that Gavin Newsom signs and puts into law. Sorry. And people have to start looking at him also as one of the problems in California.
Well, I don't know if you saw the news, but it's reported today that he is going to challenge Nancy Pelosi in the Democratic primary for that congressional seat in San Francisco, which is not going to make her happy.
No, but he'll get it because it's San Francisco, and it's always rigged in San Francisco.
All right. Thank you for the call. Let's go to Robert in Napa Valley. Robert, hello.
Yeah. Hey, John. So,
Hi
yeah,
there.
I got my preliminary stuff, but I'm still waiting for my ballot. But I don't know. I haven't heard anyone talk yet about how much garbage was in the pros and cons of the bill, right? Like, it was all like, I talked to 8 of my friends, and they were just as confused. They didn't know which way to vote. I told them to no on Prop 50, but after reading through the pros and cons, they didn't know. They had no idea what to do. So California's rigged from the get-go. I agree with the last caller that mail-in voting in California, it's all fraudulent. That's all I got, buddy.
Well, I'll tell you, I voted by mail this time. I vote by mail in every election. I get an email and a text message from the Secretary of State's office saying the vote was received and counted. I like to vote by mail. In this case, the ballot was relatively short, but in some cases, the ballot's long, where you have a number of propositions, you have a number of races, you have a number of judicial offices, you have just a lot of different things that you have to go through on the ballot. I like getting a cup of coffee, my laptop in front of me so I can look something up if I need to look something up, taking my time with it, going through it. If you're worried about someone stealing your mail out of your mailbox, you can put it in one of those blue bins where it's secure. You can take it to the post office. You can take it to a drop box. That way it's done and out of the way. Now, that being said, my personality just kind of works that way. If I get a bill in the mail, I'm not one of these people that waits until the day before the bill is due to put it in the mail. I pay it that day, and it's in my mailbox before I go to bed that night because I don't want to have to worry about forgetting about it, about losing the bill, about something going wrong, because the longer you keep it, the more opportunities you have for something to go sideways. I don't want to deal with that. If I can just do it and take care of it, I can check that box and move on to other things because we're all busy people. We have a lot on our plate. We have a lot going on. If you just take care of it and get it in the mail, I think you'll be okay. If you wait until election day, what happens if you get sick? What happens if you don't have childcare? What happens if your boss calls you and says you need to be in the office all day today and you don't have an opportunity to vote? You give yourself another opportunity for something to go wrong. If you put it in the mail, it's a done deal and you don't have to worry about it. Let's go to Kathleen in Rosemead. Kathleen, hello.
Of your show. I voted no, and come from a family of long Democrats going back for years. And when Obama ran, I changed to Republican, and it's the best thing I ever did. Please, I'd say to all the voters out there, vote this down. No, they are after Proposition 13, and we're going to be sorry if you don't stop this guy now. All this is political and against Trump. Everybody knows it. Please Get out and vote. Thank you
All
very
right.
much, John. I love you.
Well, thank you so much for the call. I appreciate it. Let's go to Walter in San Mateo. Walter, hello.
Hello. I'm Walter. I'm in San Mateo County, Half Moon Bay. I'm first-time caller. Love your show. And I voted no, and I got the text. But here is a disturbing story. I'm not sure KCRA 3 news about the special election ballot that you can see what you voted through a little hole where you sign. So I would love everybody to know about that, if it's severe or not. If this is a way to steal this election, this vote, I'd be very concerned. So, yeah, that's all I have.
All right. Thank you for the call, sir. Let's go to Angela in Oakland. Angela, hello.
Hey, love your show. The last caller was correct. If you vote no on the Prop 50 in Alameda County, for sure, the dot, if you shake your ballot, the dot will show the no vote. But that wasn't really my comment. What I wanted to comment and tell you is that, lo and behold, there's a ballot box in my business district. For years, I've watched these young people, collect the ballots, sit on the concrete, and divide the ballots, not knowing why. I can assume why, but no one to complain to. But the other day, last week, I was watching, someone came to pick up the ballots, and lo and behold, it was Alameda County Sheriffs. And when I approached them, they said they hadn't really looked up at me, but he announced that the Trump administration had required them to pick up the ballots. So I'm like, hallelujah. So FYI, if you're in Alameda County, if you put your ballot in a ballot box, we picked up at Alameda County Sheriffs. But the whole thing is real, that if you shake your ballot to one side, it will show a no vote. Doesn't show a yes vote, only shows a no to the outside visual.
All right. Thank you for the call. Let's go to Shawn in Venice. Shawn, hello.
Hey, good. How are you?
Good.
So, yeah, obviously no on 50. I think this has more repercussions for us for the governor's race. What's been going on is California's been trending more Republican or independent, and that's scaring the bejesus out of the Democrats. So by doing this and using the Trump derangement syndrome, I think this is a way for them to rig the governor's race, being how weak the field is, and that we may actually get a Republican governor. Now, with that being said, also, California right now just got passed again by Japan. So we're now number 5th economy in the world. We're in a dire straits, and Britain's going to pass us probably in the next few months. So we'll be number 6. So under Newsom's watch, we will have dropped from number 4 to number 6, which will, again, that news will be coming out during the governor's race. And I sent you guys an email. I did one of my little memes, shows the Kool-Aid man handing out a Kool-Aid. And it says, vote no on 50. And then it says, if you're drinking the Kool-Aid, vote yes.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, sir. We have one more hour coming up on the John Phillips Show. The man who ran against Katie Porter, Scott Baugh, joins us next. Don't you go anywhere. It's Jimmy Buffett Friday on the John Phillips Show.